So you see, when you select an authority who will help you to improve yourself, it's like hiring the police out of your tax money and putting them in charge of seeing that you obey the law. I mean, can't you take care of yourselves? I mean, is this the land of the free and the home of the brave, or isn't it? But you see, nobody seems to want to be in charge of themselves. Because they feel they can't do it. As St. Paul said, to will is present with me, but how to do good I find not. For the good that I would, I do not. The evil that I would not, that I do. To will is present with me, but how to do good I find not. For the good that I would, I do not. The evil that I would not, that I do. So there at once, we are in difficulty. Because trying to improve yourself is like trying to lift yourself up into the air by tugging at your own bootstraps. And it can't be done. With me, but how to do good I find not. For the good that I would, I do not. The evil that I would not, that I do. To will is present with me, but how to do good I find not. For the good that I would, I do not. The evil that I would not, that I do.
What's going on, people? Happy 420, blaze it. Smoke weed. It's obligatory on today. I had my fun yesterday, which, I went back and I watched the stream just to make sure, like, I didn't make myself look like a fool yesterday. I think I like to, I handle myself pretty well. I don't know exactly how much, I took just because of the chocolate bar. But it was probably somewhere around like a gram and a half, which isn't like terribly much, but to be on a live stream and trying to hold your shit together while you're coming up, if I didn't have as many chips under my belt, I don't think that would have turned out well. But no, like I couldn't do the stare part because you could, like, if you could catch a glimpse of my eyes in yesterday's live stream, they look like black holes. I kid you not. So let me pop the chat out here. Probably not going to be on too terribly long today, just because, once again, nothing really exciting to talk about. As well as that, a new season of Russian Doll came out, and I'm going to order some DoorDash and binge watch it with my sister, because that's one of our favorite series on Netflix. It's like, it's really trippy, because you basically die over and over. It's like Groundhog Day, but vulgar, if that makes any sense. But let's talk about price action. So someone said it's plummeting. It's not plummeting, man. So I think this is going to be the new norm, coming here over like the next couple of months. What seems to be the issue is with these upwards ABCs, I think if you guys are really trying to play these smaller time frames, you're gonna get absolutely wrecked. I have no doubt that there'll be ones like this, but I don't know if there's a way to spot which ones are gonna actually work out immediately. This one took 3 times before it toppled over as well, so you know, it's just a matter of how you're playing it. But it seems like a lot of the price action is gonna look like this, where it's gonna go up and it's gonna get to a certain point, but it's gonna be hella choppy the entire time. All right, so I mean, that might be what's happening here. You can see we put in that first tiny ABC, and then people were probably looking for a pullback, and then it went back up. So I mean, it might just keep doing this until we get to around that 43K mark, and then come back down and just eat people alive that are trying to retail trade it in these smaller time frames. But in terms of like how I see it, so the reason why I think that a single 2-pointer is more powerful, i.e. like this one right here, where there's one top, retrace, and then a higher high instead of 3. Because the 3, it's not really set in stone, because we now have a local low, 2 local lows to fall back onto. Whereas if it's just a single top and then that right there, if you do happen to come back below this and you break out this low right here, there's pretty much, you can fall as far as you like until someone decides to catch it. With this, it gives me like a little bit more confidence that we might move up. It's just going to be choppy. That's just how I see it. But no, I'm still holding on to my longs. I'm still on my macro short. I've debated with myself how I'm going to be playing the price action, because obviously I got wicked out of my Ethereum short over here. So I think that this is going to turn into a two-part structure. So we have this first A going up. This is the retracement back down. And hopefully this is the setup that I'm looking for in particular, to get back into a short position on Ethereum for the macro. And then hopefully that becomes some sort of larger ABC structure. And that's really the only possibility I see of like holding a long position right now. Until we form structures that look like this, I'm not really encouraged to hold my longs long term. Like I said, taking short-term profits is kind of the goal here for me. But that seems to be what might be happening here. And LTC, like I said, my main concern is LTC. So I'm hoping that somewhere around $115 is where I can go ahead and grab a short. Another double top retest of this resistance from over here. Because that one has the plummet to death scenario, which could be an inkling on like how hard we might see Ethereum and BTC fall. Like I said, I can only really count on 33,000, and if we break 33,000, I can count on 28. But with LTC, with a potential 50% drop looming in the distance, pretty severe. So we'll see how it all plays out. Well, how you guys doing? What's going on? Happy Wednesday? It's Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday, my dudes. I woke up a little bit late today, because yesterday was just a lot was done, and I needed time to let the body recover. Johnny Crypto, what's going on, man? I'm for sure celebrating today. Do you, man? Have fun. What happened yesterday? Oh, never mind. I get it. Yeah, it was bicycle day, and they took a vote in the Discord. They said, vote yes if you want Kite to stream while tripping. I tried my best, but then I was like, I gotta go, guys. I gotta go. And usually, like when I trip, if I like take a small amount, yeah, I can go outside. I can, be in nature, because everybody likes to get on your ass about that. Oh, you go trip, you gotta go into nature. All right, I'm going inside my own nature, right? And it's just sometimes it's just way too intense. I can't even move, So I just sit there, I close my eyes, and I let go till it's over. Usually come out with some sort of insight. No, Enzo. It is not scalping season. Like I said, that's just my personal opinion. I mean, if you can play price action like this and you can walk away with some good gains, do you, man? Do you? I ain't gonna judge. But it's definitely not. Like I said, I think that's what might be happening. These uptrends are gonna get more rocky, because you're working against the grain. Like I said, the mathematics are geared toward the downside right now. Someone in the chat said, if the Dixie is fallen, why is BTC, not, increasing in value, or why is it falling? Well, I mean, it's not really falling. It's just a simple retest. Obviously, if we really start breaking down, then I'll agree with you. But when the Dixie falls, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't fall with it. What it really means is, like, the value of the dollar is decreasing, so therefore it takes more dollars to equal one Bitcoin. But when you have a priced in asset such as Bitcoin with a stagnant inflation rate, it's already mathematically going to lose value, all right? But if the dollar's falling as well, it can help it maintain its value, but it does not necessarily. It's depending on how severe, the Dixie's falling, all that kind of stuff. Where's Papa Roach? I don't know, but I had nightmares about Papa Roach going all in. He took all my money. Yeah, I had to delete that stream from last night because I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything by the books. Because with the whole gambling situation, like with stake.com and Roobet, and these people just using their subscribers to gain money, once again, like, I was doing it for fun. That was just us palling around, and there was no, like, there's, what I'm saying. But I'm sure some people will just view it as the same type of situation. So try my best to differentiate myself whenever I do stuff like that, because it's fun to play poker. Like, if there's any gambling that I think is, legitimate, like slots, that's stupid. It can be fun as long as you're chilling, like with penny slots. But poker's fun because it's a you got friends, and it's relaxing. Okay, what's your thoughts on BTC and gold's inverse relationship? Well, gold and silver, like, I don't think can ever truly be a good representation of what they're worth. Because with those assets, you're dealing with ETFs markets, which is why I hate people that are like, I want the institutions to get into Bitcoin. I want a Bitcoin ETF. No, you don't. No, you don't. You know what an ETF is? It's an electronic document saying that you own such and such. But that such and such does not have to exist. So with the silver market, they print more ETFs saying that there's more silver in the market than there actually is, right? And then they can force the price down. It's exactly what's happening to gold. So if they do that to Bitcoin, I think they're going to be screwing themselves very heavily, which is why they haven't done it yet, because they don't know how they can manipulate Bitcoin. They're trying to find out some sort of creative solution, right? We don't want ETFs in Bitcoin whatsoever, all right, at all. So I like gold. Like, I like the concept of it because that's what gave birth to what we're doing right now. But it's just so heavily manipulated. I don't know why anybody's playing in that market. It's just, you're working. It's actual manipulation. People cry manipulation on Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's a free market. So therefore, you're convinced it's manipulation because you've never seen it like this. But ETF markets are actual manipulation. regulatory manipulation by the big guys. What do I think about Trias? Is that crypto? Don't know what that is. What do you think on D chart, dominance chart on ETH ABC? On D chart? What are you talking about? Kevin O'Leary, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I don't watch any of the Kevin O'Leary interviews. I saw the one like back in like 2013 or something like that, where he commented it. But he's so flippy floppy. I don't know why anybody even takes what he's saying at face value. He should just stay on Shark Tank. That's his gig. Hey, bro, how long did it take you to become consistently profitable? I want to say like 2 years before like I really got a good grip on like most of the mechanics that make a good trader. It's a constant process. And like, what do you define as consistently profitable? Because I think this account is probably the most realistic that I've ever done. When people think about consistently profitable, they're like, oh, you're adding 1% to your account a day. No, right? My account has been all over the place the past couple of months, but it's up. So I'm profitable and consistently over the past couple of months with this account. So I started with, 1,600. Right now the account's sitting at about 33, 35, depending on what day it is and how far we pumped up. Obviously, it's going to keep growing if I keep playing it right. But it's taken me like 5 months, and I've only 2x the portfolio pretty much. But I've 2x the portfolio in a downwards market. That's pretty good. When people talk about consistently profitable, they're talking about like every single day you're walking away with a paycheck as if it's a job. It's not going to work like that, man. Being a trader is not walking away with a weekly paycheck or even a monthly paycheck. It's sitting through these grueling sidewards, downwards markets for that payoff every other couple years, and then you take some off the top and you do it again. That's why I did this bull run. All right, we made a lot of money. So I take off some of that money, I pay my taxes on it, I stick it in some savings accounts, and then I siphon it out over the next couple of months when I need it. So I just want to be realistic about that. Are you familiar with arbitrage betting? I haven't had time to. It's awesome. It's awesome. Highly illegal if you're in a regulated market. I don't do a lot of arbitrage just because I'm lazy and it takes a lot of time. But like when Bitcoin was going for like $9,000 US, you can go buy Bitcoin in the US. And if you had a Venezuelan friend that you trusted, then you could send your Bitcoin to their wallet address and they could sell it on a Venezuelan exchange for like 22,000, and you just keep doing that back and forth, and then he sends you, you guys basically cut it however you think is fair. But it doesn't always happen. That's when Venezuela hit that really hard hyperinflation. And it was only on the Venezuelan exchanges where it saw an increase in price. It saw an increase in price across the board because one market can affect all markets. But Ryan, what's going on, man? How you doing? Sure, I'll give you a call right after this live stream if you want me to. I'll give you a text and let you know, and then you call me when you're ready. Starting with $3,000. Any advice for low budget traders? One, stay on the higher time frames. Don't rush the process. I know that looking at the 5-minute chart, you say, well, on the 1 hour, 2 hour chart, I might be only able to take a trade like every other week, right? Because look at this. The last major trade that I'm sitting in that's in really, really good profit was, let's see, I entered that trade 2 weeks ago. Okay. And then from the time that I entered that short, all right, I didn't take another trade, i.e. a long, until 12 days. So you might be going, well, Austin, you know, you only took like 2 or 3 trades, blah, 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 but they're working. They're in winners. All right. But if you're on the 5-minute chart, you're like, well, I could take a trade every day. All right. Trust me, if you do it long enough, you're going to see that is not the way. That's the first thing. Be patient. Play the higher time frames. Don't cloud yourself with 1,000 different indicators. Watch the market. The market will tell you what it wants to do. Now, it's not like it's going to show you exactly what's going to happen. If you watch the market, you can identify points of indecision where you can take advantage of the psychology that people don't even know they have, right? Because most people don't even watch themselves. They don't even know how they think, right? I can tell when I'm scared, right? I'm honest when I'm scared, you know, and I can use that to my advantage. Most people don't know when they're scared because, you know, they try to convince themselves they're not. Scared money don't make no money, you know, but it's okay to be scared because I can be your best indicator rather than one on a chart. It says, hey, lock your mouse in the closet. Don't touch your computer. Like areas like this, if you're just looking at the market, you can say, okay, the market is confident on us moving up to this region, but then everybody gets scared and it backs off. You could say it's the whales dumping, but it's the market as a whole. All right. And then right here, you can see, okay, the market comes up and, you know, the market's a little bit overconfident and thinks that it can do it, but then it starts to show indecision. It's like, oh, I don't know if I can make the jump. You know, Papa, I don't know if I can jump over the river. And then they try to jump over the river and they fail and then they die, you know? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just don't cloud your judgment. Be patient with the market. Relax your eyes and look at the market as a whole. And I think that, you know, that's one of the cool things about the stuff that I learn about offhand from trading is people get lost in the sauce on these micro time frames, getting caught up with all this price action that's going on a small, you know, small talk. They don't look at the whole. So that's how, like, I can quickly identify like separations of trends and look at it from a different perspective. It's not like a magical, it's just different perspective. As well as that, you know, if you're thinking about like the strategies I've talked about in the past, like the flight takeoff strategy, yeah, you can still do that to a certain extent, but it's not like it was in the beginning of the bull market where you can use like 10% of your portfolio confidently on a breakout trade. Now, if I was to do like the flight breakout strategy, it would probably be something like 2% to start, and then once the account has earned like 50% to 100%, I'll drastically reduce it to 1% and then 0.5%, blah, blah, blah. Like nowadays, instead of using 2% on the account, I'm using like 1% on the macro swings, and then if I am taking these scalp trades, like this long right here, I'm using less than that. I'm using like 0.75 to 0.5%. Check Netflix, mate. You talking about the stock? Is there a new show on Netflix? Oh my god! Oh my! What is happening? Oh my god! Does this mean Netflix going down? I wish I still had that picture that my friend created for me. You guys know, like the dude with the butterfly, and he's like looking at it. He's like, "Is this a bird?" And it just has a picture of a pullback, and he goes, "Is this a pullback?" Yes, this is a pullback. So I mean, you can like, we're hitting a layer of support here. We're hitting, you know, some layers of support if it falls down further. I mean, what goes up must come back down. But we'll probably stabilize somewhere around like 230. It's got the good makings of an A. This wouldn't be a bad time to watch and see if we put in a, you know, if we show support here with an ABC. If you want to pick up Netflix, I don't know about you. Oh my God. Why don't you just look at the price action? Oh my God. It's all going to Disney Plus, man. Everyone's like, Netflix, you are not coming out with bangers anymore. Disney Plus has Baby Yoda. And I agree. Right? I wasn't going to watch Book of Boba until I saw Baby Yoda was on it. Once I saw that Baby Yoda was on Book of Boba, I had no problem watching Book of Boba. And the people that withheld the information that you got to see Baby Yoda doing flips and shit. How is that not the main selling point of Book of Boba? Do you want to watch a 1 foot tall creature that sounds like a cat sometimes do flips with the Force? Of course I do. Right? Netflix doesn't have that. If they were smart, they would try to capture something. They can get Hasbulla and hook him up to a zip line or something and make him do flips and shit. I watch that. Get Hasbulla on Netflix. Hasbulla could be bigger than the Kim Kardashians. No one wants to watch Kardashian Life, whatever it's called, where they follow the sisters around. I'd rather watch Hasbulla shoot guns and stab people with knives. But like Kardashian-esque edited. I'll do that. Is everything crashing? Is this the death of the economy? Is Netflix only just the first domino to fall? Gold too? I know his name is Grogu. Oh, look at that. Would you just look at that? Would you just look at it? 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 Come on. Are we in the Matrix? Is that what's happening? Are we in the Matrix? I feel like if like the Netflix stock goes down extremely, I should get a discount on my subscription. Like, hey, you want me to stay? Gotta give me a discount. Also, I'll wreck your stock further. My $10 a month is really holding this thing up. I've been cast on that reality show with Hasbulla types. No bueno. What do you mean? I mean, Hasbulla, he's a menace, but I don't know. I think he'd make a really good politician. At the end of that interview on Sunday Conversation, he goes, I'm taking down all the speeding cameras. The only time that you're ever going to get a speeding ticket is when you get caught red-handed, because then you deserve it. He goes, you can tint all of your windows as much as you like, except for the back one. He's fair. He's fair. These are good things. Do you just predict price with ABC legs, Kite? I don't predict it. It's just understanding that it can turn into that is important, because then you wait and you know what you should be looking for. Like if you have, a bigger downtrend, like if you have something that's just dropping straight down and there's no separation of trend, you can assume that it's going to look something like this, right? I mean, that's been shown over and over and over again. Like right here, when we're coming down, obviously I tried to play this one first, right? But then once we form, you know, a lower low significantly, we see a little pop to the upside. And then from there, it's like, okay, we have a downtrend that's coming down and a small uptrend. I'm going to wait and see if we put in a lower low. And if we put in that lower low and then come back above the A, I'm ready. I'm ready, Freddy. Everybody else sees us break through that support and they're like, okay, we're going down to zero. I'm like, no, okay. All right, I'm already in a short, all right, because I got my shorts from a decent price. I'm not taking breakout trades. So if it continues dropping, I'm fine. If it comes back up, I'm fine. That's the whole point of why I do what I do. I'm fine. I'm fine, but the money makes me handsomer. All right, how long have we been streaming? Like I said, I only want to be on here for like 30 minutes. Okay, I'll give it another 10 minutes. How about that? How about that? Like I said, there's not much to talk about today. If we die, we die. Nothing to it. One thing I'll be sad about with this is if we do happen to just dump off a cliff, that I don't have my Ethereum short. But I'd rather be safe than sorry. Like I said, at the moment in time, I'm seeing a possibility of just another retest. And then from there, you know, as long as we're below like 3,175, I'll probably be more bearish in terms of like, okay, we're probably not going to go up much further. Like this is the whole thing right here. So the only problem with playing macro structures is there is a tad bit of taking into account the smaller time frames, or at least the medium time frames. So if we're classifying a structure this large as a macro, then you would usually talk about structures this size as the medium. All right. And you can see that one right here too. A, B, C. All right. You would talk about structures this size as the medium, and then anything within the medium structures would be considered the micro. All right. So this would have been your short position. This would have been your long position. This would have been your short position. I didn't take this short position just because BTC was not looking too hot in terms of like having an initial pullback. So I figured I'd wait for the larger setup here, which I botched that too. So didn't do well on Ethereum as much as I would have liked. Right? That I will admit. But I mean, pretty cut and clear setup right here. Same thing on BTC. All right, so these setups were here. The only problem that happens is people get stopped out. So like if you're trying to take this setup, you might get stopped out, 3 or 4 times, which yes, sucks. All right, and if you have another layer of resistance, like I chose to use 45,368 as my entry point for my short. So I saved myself a little bit of headache. All right, because you see price action was just really indecisive. So if you get stopped out 4 times and you're not being stupid and starting to use more risk each time you get stopped out because you're mad at the world, all right, and you just want to burn it all down, if you get stopped out 4 times, but then you have like a 60 R&R, then what are you mad about? All right, what? You lost 4% of your portfolio, but you made 20% back on what you had left? Oh, boo. All right, it's already a 14 restored ratio. And then, if we drop back down to 33, that's a 28 restored ratio. If we drop back down to like 29, that's a 38. Well, depending on what your stop loss is, that is. What is the current? If you're talking about this one, it's on this album. So I don't know which one you were talking about exactly, if it might have went past. But I think it might be this one. This is the one that you're talking about. T-Rex Echoes. That's a funny name. GMT analysis. Oh, man. I try to stay away from shitcoins, my dude, but I'll look at it just for you. How about that? Like, I don't know if this is the legitimate chart here, because I mean, on Bybit it looks slightly different, but I mean, you got one uptrend that cut into a downtrend with an uptrend. If it comes back below the A, you're considered bearish. It's plain and simple. Zoom out. I thought that needed to be yelled. So, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. Is that a 6X you're wearing? Are you referring to the size of my hoodie as 6 extra large? Because that is extremely hurtful. I am not that fat. Hey man, since you always take profit at the, I don't always take profit at the 0.618, it's just on the scalps. I'm looking to pay it, like, just play within the trend. How do you catch the huge bullish moves that extend beyond? So it's all in preparation. So if I have a huge uptrend, right, that's how I took this long and I held it for so long, because it's just foresight. I go, it's not that I know that we're going to turn into a larger trend, it's that we can turn into a larger trend. Risk to reward. Okay. So if I have an uptrend and I have a downtrend of equal size that is versing it, and we did not put in a lower low, but we have an ABC towards the bottom, right? If I enter here, there's a pretty decent chance that this is my A and this is my B. So if I take my long from a decent point with good R&R, all right, and then I take hedge trades along the way to make up for the losses if I ever did get stopped out of this one, I can confidently continue to hold it, right? And then once we put in a higher high, then this becomes a completed structure. And then from there, if we come back below the A, I can take a hedge short. And then if the market gives me a confident place to get back into the market, I can take profit on my long, right? Because if I take profit on my long, I have a place to get back in, which was right here. But if we continue going back down, I have my short. See how I'm setting myself up in an advantageous position no matter what the hell everybody else chooses to do? Sorry, my brain's still getting back to homeostasis. So I'm just having fun today, not being a dick. All right, whenever I answer questions, I'm never insulting anybody. I just like to have fun. Oh, yeah, they're the HD 650s. Thought you were saying that I was wearing a 6 times large. I was about to say that. You can't be going around doing that to people. I check KDA. We talked about KDA yesterday. Like I said, for me, I rather just take my mining profits and get into KDA just from a risk to reward perspective. But if we do happen to put in a lower low than $4.36 and we come back above it and show signs of support, I'll take it. All right. Because I'm playing this on like an absolute macro scale. I know that some people are going to go, well, what about this one right here? And I get that. I do. Trust me. All right. I get what you're saying with that. Me personally, because this is an altcoin and I'm looking at this as a more long-term thing, all right, I only want the big setups. So we have this ABC going down. Okay. All right, so we can say that that's our A and that this is a B and then this is our C. All right, so that's why I'm being cautious. And especially with the way the rest of the market is looking, all right, I personally do not believe that you're going to see Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and all these other coins in a severe downtrend retesting lows, and we're going to see KDA blast off to the upside. I just don't think it's going to happen, not at this moment in time. We don't have the market conditions to sustain a pump if it does anyways. All right. So if we can get back above this A, that is a huge sign of strength in the market, because you can see that's what was being used as resistance over here. All right. So if we do happen to break through that, you're breaking through a lot of liquidity, you're going to see a massive pump come in, and then you can target that next resistance right here. All right. If we go down and put in a lower low than $4.37 and we come back above it, that's showing signs of support in the market, and then we can go back up and retest somewhere around $10. See my ideology with that? And then if we do happen to come back down below $4.37 and we cannot show signs of support, then we're going to drop back down to $1.41, and I can always buy there. See? This man is high as a kite? No. I don't take part. I don't take part in that in this holiday anymore. I took part in yesterday's holiday. What's your thoughts on microdosing shrooms? Really good for neuroplasticity, and if you practice the right habits, because it's a two-part thing. So taking the drug doesn't automatically make you a better trader. What taking the drug does is add to neuroplasticity in your brain and make your brain more malleable. That way, if you practice correctly, you're solidifying the habit of being a good trader. If you practice incorrectly and you're on the microdose, you're solidifying being a bad trader. So that's why it's really important to study what you need to work on in terms of like self-control, how you position yourself in the market, risk management. And that way, when you use the substance, you're basically making your brain so that it thinks like this, and then you take away the substance, and now you're back to baseline, and you're basically locking your brain, right, into that state of mind. Now, obviously, over an extended period of time without the use of substances, your brain can still mutate, you know, it's basically Play-Doh, and then you can still go back into bad habits. It just takes significantly longer. See what I'm saying? Do you know that kiting is actually a type of check fraud? Also, you used in a type of mind control where they use a device called an heirloom. All right, Johnny, I know it's 420, but you gotta chill out. You gotta chill out. Put the bong down. Technically, we're still in a massive C from the first ABC on BTC. I mean, like, okay, technically not. If this is what you're talking about, technically not. All right, if you're talking about this being the top of your A and then B and then C, because we put in a higher high right here, I'm gonna say no. But like I said, I do think that this was a mistake. I think the market had a little bit overreaction, and realistically, we probably should have topped out around 62K. And then in that case scenario, we would have never put in a higher high, and we would definitely be sitting in a macro ABC right now. Which substance? Either LAD 25 or like natural shrooms. You can go find shrooms at your local park. Anywhere where like they use like bark mulch, like tree bark mulch, you can find them. And as long as you're safe and you know what you're looking for. Your local parks and recreation is responsible for more shrooms than all the drug dealers combined. Just putting that out there. All right, that's why you don't take your dog to the dog park. You keep them away from the mushrooms, or else you're gonna have a wild time. No, I meant from the first ever ABC. I mean, we can go back. There's ABCs here, here. This is an ABC. That's an ABC. This is an ABC. That's an ABC. This is an ABC. That's an ABC. So, I mean, are you talking about like this ABC? So the reason why like I don't really adhere to like the retracements on the pullbacks is because the mathematically Bitcoin really doesn't allow for like a full 0.382 retracement on the macro scale, just because of how it works. Inflation and the deflationary value of it is, that's why you can target the 1.618 to the upside, but it doesn't always work for the retest. Kite, how old are you? I am 22. It's a triangle correction, and you basically count triangles and flats as ABCs, so why does the higher high bother you? It doesn't bother me. The higher high, or the lower low, or the higher high, what it allows me to do is have criteria for I need that to enter, right? Because in order for me to set up my risk parameters to be as accurate as possible, I need an if this and that statement, right? Some people don't agree with it. Some people are like, you need to be able to be more flexible with price action. But for me, I feel like this is the safest way for me to trade. All right. So when we put in a higher high, right, it's a condition that needs to be met. All right. If that condition is not met, then I don't have a trade. Right, and from there, it becomes an if this, then that statement. If we come back below this high after putting in a higher high, then I will go short. It turns it into a simple checklist in terms of how I play things. And then now I have a static stop loss, and I know exactly where I want to get out of the trade if it doesn't work out. That's why it bothers me. But I have no issue. If we don't put in a higher high, I just don't have a trade. I just don't care. All right, caring about whether or not you have a trade on the board is what's getting you into trouble. Right? If I wait for price action to give me a sign and it gives me a sign, right, then thank the market makers. We're on a roll. How much is understanding your emotions attached to becoming a good trader? It's all of it. It's absolutely all of it. All right, because the mathematics are the mathematics. They're very simple once you break them down. You have win ratio, you have R&R, and then you have the averages of all of them. Right, depending on what type of market you're in, right? You can take any trade strategy, use a low amount of money, as long as it's a replicatable trade strategy where there is no room for interpretation. That's what I built here, right? That's just how my trade strategy works. There's no room for interpretation. That's where if I don't have a higher high, I don't have a trade. Right? If I have a higher high, I have a trade. Right? The only interpretation is where the trends lie, but I don't know. If you can't see the separation of trends, you're just doomed anyways. All right, just spend more time looking at the chart. So you can take any trading strategy as long as it's somewhat replicatable. Like I can give this trading strategy, and as long as I write down every single bit of piece of information, you could copy it exactly. As long as you remove the human emotions out of it, right, you should be able to come out with a win ratio versus the average win, like how much you're walking away with when you do win. And then you can prove to me mathematically that long term that this would be a good trading strategy. The only thing that can take a good trading strategy, which most actually are, like most of these trading strategies you find on the internet, somewhat are decent. Like they are provably fair in terms of being able to produce profit. But the whole problem is people go down to the smaller time frames and try to use the same strategy. It messes it up. And then when you're on the smaller time frames, you're more influenced by yourself because your just brain is going fast as hell. So at the end of the day, the only thing that can ruin a good trading strategy is your actions that you're taking with it. All right, some people might jump the gun. Oh, I don't think we're going to get a higher high. So then they take the trade. They get stopped out an extra 7 times. Okay. So it can force you to do stupid things. For example, people think going to the gym is the most important thing for building muscle, but it's actually the fact. That's what I was saying before. It's the same thing. So some people think that the muscle in trading is the trading strategy, right? The muscle in trading is the diet, i.e. learning how your brain works and treating it correctly and making it work towards your advantage. That's why I said before, if you are using substances and you trade the wrong way, right, you're going to get less results and you're actually going to get worse results. Just like how if you're eating like shit but trying to build muscle, you're actually killing yourself. Like you're basically tearing your body apart, but you don't have the nutrients to rebuild it in the proper way. Does it make sense? But I'm definitely gonna be going here pretty soon because, like I said, I'm just trying to hang out today, eat some food, and then binge watch some Netflix before they close down all the accounts because they're unprofitable. How do I play stop loss? Here, open up. I know I haven't shown my Bybit today. Do you think it's worth it if I trade with just 50? Of course, because what do you got to lose? But that's the problem too. When you're trading with a small amount of money, you tend to not treat it respectfully, right? So you don't break it down into the proper percentages, and you're not psychologically invested in it like you would if you were putting like your rent on the line. I'm not saying put your rent on the line, but hopefully you get what I'm saying with that in terms of like you're not really understanding what it's like to trade with a true stack. Right now, it can turn into a true stack. Like if you have $50 and you turn it into somehow 10,000, right? 10,000 is still $10,000. Now, from a decent perspective, you go, I start with $50. I shouldn't feel attached to this money, but you will, because 10,000 is $10,000, right? But I always recommend that you start with the lowest amount, but try to play it as if you're playing with 10 times that amount, because the percentages are the same. If you can take $50 and you can do it through a replicatable strategy and you can turn it into $100, there's absolutely no difference in the world except for the psychology behind it of turning 1,000 into 2,000 or 1,000,000 into 2,000,000. But to set a stop loss, once you have your open trade, you can just go here, click this little check mark, and then set a stop loss. That's if you're using Bybit. If not, you would just have to set a stop limit order on your exchange. Tried nacho fries, crazy good. Had to go back and get 4 more boxes. That's what I'm saying. Apparently they're not for everybody, but I think they're fantastic. Definitely unhealthy, but you know what? They're here for a limited time. You might as well indulge. How did you learn? By yourself or school? I didn't learn much about trading in school, but I pretty much just taught myself. Obviously, like I had mentors. I would watch Crown Crypto. I would watch Philicon. I would watch about during this last bull market. That's when I got introduced to Trader Tom. I think he is absolutely probably one of the best people to listen to when it refers to trading. All right. Now, the only problem is like he talks about Bitcoin sometimes when people ask him questions about it, but he's just talking about trading in its entirety, no matter what the market is. So I know that like people might gravitate towards me because I'm trading on Bybit, you're trading on Bybit. So it's more relatable. But I guarantee you that if you go listen to Trader Tom and put the time in, that man is more experienced than I am. Technically, until he's dead, he's going to be more experienced than I'll ever be, right? Because it's just how time works. But because it was the first person where like I had a certain perspective on how to trade and what I thought was right. And then I listened to him and it was pretty much identical. Now there's some things that he talked about that I didn't even think of that I picked up along the way. I.e., he talks a little bit more about adding to winning trades, which I do, just not in the way that people might think. So take, for example during the bull market, I compounded my trade each time I won. So every single time that I won a long, my subsequent long got larger. So I'm buying higher and higher and higher, taking advantage of the run. It's not just one long that I'm holding on to and then I'm adding, because there's no way I can compound with that. But Trader Tom, that dude is a beast, and I hope one day I get to shake his hand. He's a He's so cool. I love his outlook on everything that he talks about. I don't watch him all the time because I do think that it's kind of irresponsible of me if I do, watch other traders and like, even if subconsciously I might be taking their ideas and passing them off as my own. So I try my best to stay away from other people's minds. But if there is one mind that I could listen to all day, it would be Trader Tom. Yep, Trader Tom. He's I think he's from Denmark, so he's got a little bit of an accent, but you can clearly understand him. There's no issue with that. One gummy bear later, and I'm completely worthless. Not as good as it seemed. Oh man, I've been there before. I ate a gram one time back when I was into THC, and that was the worst experience of my life. I actually came to grips. That was the first experience where like I was like, I'm going to die, and I kind of like I let go of reality because I was like, there's no point anymore. If I'm gonna die, I'd rather die peacefully instead of panicking. And then eventually, like after sitting there dead on the bed for a while, not really, just kind of like out of it. I crawled off the bed, and then I threw up in the shower. And then I went back to my bed, and I was like, yeah, this confirms it. I'm gonna die. If I'm gonna die, what's the one thing I want to leave behind? Like, what's my legacy? Not just money for my family, but like for humanity as a whole. I go, we got to figure out how to communicate with dolphins. So I'm just looking up YouTube videos about dolphins. Just going, ee, ee, ee. Never again will I do. I don't think that was the last edible I ever took, but I definitely never took close to that amount again. That was disgusting. May I ask why you use Bybit? I find it to be more reputable. I've been using Bybit for close to 4 years now, ever since like 2018. So for me, it's the length of time that I've been using it. I've come accustomed to the website. I've never had a glitch with them in terms of like something malicious that like just was kind of out of place. Even during the worst times of the market, where like most other exchanges, including Coinbase, are down because of all the volume, Bybit's still up. So like that's another reason, as well as that it didn't just pop up during the bull market. Anything that just pops up during the bull market, you have to give it some time because it could be a scam. Like I said, I'm not gonna, because that would be just way too much to throw into that playlist. I mean, just go to carbon-based life forms, and just like I said, this is the album that I started playing at the beginning of the live stream. So any song that you've heard from here on out was pretty much just this. Hey, Kito. Hello. How you doing? Okay, do you wait for the ABC to form on the 4 hour, or do you always wait for 1 hour? Even if the ABC is not fat, pH fat. So with a 4K screen, I can see a lot. So like even with the chart moved out here, I can see a lot of information. So with a 4K screen, I can see so much on the 1 hour chart. All right. But if I was on a 1080p screen, I would have to use like the 4 hour chart to be able to see all of this. All right. Unless I zoomed out, like actually zoomed out with my like control minus. So I mean, I typically use the 1 hour, but if I went back down to a 1080p screen, I'll probably be using the 2-hour chart. But I try to focus more on the macro, which are size setups like this, and then focus on the medium, which are size setups like this. You can see that A, B, C. But all right, guys, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna order food. My sister's screaming at me through texts because she's also hungry. But I appreciate you guys very much. Happy 420. And hopefully you guys are safe. Don't speak to dolphins. Be good people. Be kind. I don't know if I want to do an outro song today because I kind of want to dip. But can't break tradition. Can't break tradition. So we'll pick something. Is there a short one, like 2 minutes? Oh yeah, I'll play this one, The Good Professor. 2 minutes and 41 seconds. I probably played it before, so or someone's heard it before, but I'll add it to the playlist. Like I said, I don't want to make promises on like any of the time frames. Like even today, I was a little bit late. But on Thursdays, I go live with Mata anyways, but whether or not we get an extra stream, like around 4 or 5 p.m. EST, is to be determined. So, we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. I love you very much, and I'll see you soon. Let's do this thing. Oh, my bad. Since my eyeballs are not pitch black voids today, I can look you directly in the eyes. Bye!
So, let's look at this thing from another point of view, which you will at first think highly depressing. Let's supposing we can't do anything to change ourselves. Suppose we're stuck with it. Now that is the worst thing an American audience can hear. There's no way of improving yourself, because every kind of culture in this country is dedicated to self-improvement. Just take jogging, that deplorable practice. It's a very nice thing to run and to go dancing across the hills at a fast speed. But these joggers are shaking their bones, rattling their brains, running on their heels. There's a grimness about it. It's determinately good for you. Why do you go to school? The whole point of coming to school is that you're interested in something. You don't come to improve yourself. But the trouble is that the schools got the wrong idea. They gave people honors for learning. The reward for studying French should be the ability to speak French and enjoy reading French and having fun with French people. But when you get a degree for it, then the degree becomes the point in a game of one-upmanship. And of course, one-upmanship is the main business of the educational community today. You learn all the rules of how to be a good professor.